Okay, so the price of Bitcoin has been extremely bullish throughout April and the first couple of days of May, but now we are hitting a major level of resistance that's been mentioned throughout the last week, right? Which is that golden pocket from all-time high to the pivot low of April. Now, when we do take a look at the previous cycle, something that we have been talking about throughout the last week, but this is going to give you the general idea to see what can happen throughout May, and very likely expecting a corrective kind of momentum throughout the price action so we can finally form a bottom and then head up to all-time high, potentially in June, maybe in July, okay? So the next coming months, we'll be looking for a third wave to the upside, very similar to the previous cycle where we got that wave 2, wave 3 hitting all-time high, corrective move in wave 4, and then wave 5, and then this was the top of the bull run, almost hitting $69,000, right? And then getting that bear market. Now the question is, am I expecting the same thing where we are going to be ranging or steep correction to the downside and then look for the third wave to barely just hit all-time high, 110, then maybe $120,000, and then start correcting bear market? Well, we do not know. The good thing about a third wave in an impulse is that you can reach the 2.618 extension, the 3.618 extension. It could be double or triple the size of your wave 1. So we're just going to have to go with the rally and see that consolidation reaction. Okay, then that wave 4, a bit of a retracement, and then the next wave to the upside. This is the moment you want to start exiting when you have the first major pullback after such a large wave 3. Now this wave 3 could reach 120, it could reach $200,000. So we ain't going to speculate on those price targets eventually. We're going to have to check the price action. Once we get some consolidations and retracements and start peaking out, okay, testing the highs, that will be the moment to exit the market. I have to be honest here. That's the moment that you really want to take most of the profits when you get that kind of price action. Now let's talk about what we're looking for on the lower time frame. But before, we just need to see the similarities on the bull market, right, from the previous cycle, which is crazy. You got the major rally, you got the reaction, consolidation range, okay, the distribution, you entered an accumulation, and then a very strong impulsive move in 5 waves, hitting that golden pocket, and then getting the reaction and the rejection throughout the next few weeks after hitting that level. Same scenario, major rally in 2024, consolidation here for many months, then the drop in February, accumulation, rally all the way up to the point of control and the golden pocket where we are getting the reaction in the last few days. So it looks like that we are moving very similar from the previous cycle here. Now, of course, what happened on the previous cycle is that you did get that pullback. You did get a 3-wave corrective structure, and then you had a major rally breaking up here in your wave 3, as you can see, followed by a wave 4 and a wave 5, and that was the end of the bull market, okay? So what we are looking for here is some type of a corrective structure. When we do zoom in on the lower time frame, we do have that 5-wave move to the upside. When we do check here the price action, we have that 5-wave move up. And before we continue with the local price action, guys, Weeks right now is with this massive campaign giving $100 tether for free. Now this is only for the first 100 users. This will probably likely end throughout the end of the day or tomorrow. The first 100 users will be getting $100 tether bonus that you can use for your trading, guys. Use it for the trading. It is free and you can withdraw the profits that you make from this. Pretty awesome. Now, you do also get $30,000 deposit bonus. All of those traders out there that moving, massive amount of volume, you will be getting some airdrops in your futures account. You also get a 25% fee reduction with the second link down below, guys, as you sign up here for Weeks. So you're eligible for those bonuses. And remember, you only need an email and a password for this exchange. Now, there is a good thing here. We are looking at all of this movement to the downside to be corrective for the moment. Now, as we do analyze very carefully, we have nothing on the charts here. We don't need anything. We do analyze here the movement down sideways momentum, and then a big drop, okay? So for the moment, we are labeling this as a 3-wave structure. If we do get a rally here to the upside without claiming the lows from Monday at $93,500, we're just a few $100 away, we might claim it as I upload this video, then there is a possibility of different kind of corrective moves here. Worst case scenario, let's talk about the worst case scenario here, that regardless, I would be looking for a corrective move anyway, but it could turn out into a major impulse, right? But we do need more information, okay? So one of the most bearish case scenarios here would be forming a contracting or expanding diagonal, and that is by reaching the current lows from Monday would be possible. And this movement can be labeled as your wave 1 or your wave A, preferably your wave A, then B, then C, and then we bottom out, below 90K, and we got a major rally throughout the end of May, right? That would be the ideal scenario, but it is possible that this could be a wave 1. If you do claim the lows right over here, then you have the possibility of your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Okay, and then what you're looking at here is a possible bounce in a 3-wave structure. If we do claim one more low, potentially sweeping up these lows, that could turn into an expanding move. It is very much possible. Okay, it doesn't matter here where you label your wave 2. It can be here or here because there is a possible flat structure in this momentum. So what is important is that your wave 3 does not become the shortest wave, okay? But it is definitely a possibility that you do form here an expanding or contracting move in a 5-wave structure. I would be interested in short trades if we do get this bounce after claiming the low, okay? It would be looking very interesting here throughout the next couple of days. However, if we do get that movement to the upside, okay, right now, then there is different possibilities, right? You do have the ABC flat where you have a 3-wave structure here to the downside. The drop from Monday is not claimed, so that is a 3-wave move up. If we start grinding up here in a 3-wave structure throughout the next couple of days, it is very likely that we'll end up in a double top. I'm still looking at all of this being a massive corrective structure. So there is the possibility that if the lows are not claimed from Monday, which we are very close in claiming it, just a few $100, right? But just in case we don't claim it and we start breaking here the lower high resistance trend and we do get up here to the highs, this is going to be bearish in my opinion. I'll be very interested in a double top. If we suddenly start getting the major rally here in a 3-wave structure, the movement down has been a 3-wave move down, okay? So the fact that this is a low and you formed a wave 1, wave 2, this higher low hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci is extremely rare for a wave 2, meaning that having a wave 2 here and then blasting off in a wave 3 is a very unlikely scenario to happen. Now, you can see this movement to the downside is getting very confusing. There's a lot of scenarios. I would be interested in a double top scenario if we do maintain this low. If we do not maintain that low and we hit it throughout the next coming hours, you are looking for a 5-wave move down, regardless if it's contracting or not or expanding. You're looking for a 5-wave move down, meaning that the bounce is very likely going to form a lower high at some point, okay? So we'll be very, very interested in the 50%, the golden pocket, the back test of this pivot high. Would be looking at the price to really roll over in just a regular ABC instead of looking at a flat. So it is crucial to understand if you do claim the pivot or not, right? What are you looking at, right? If we do claim the pivot, then I'm looking for a lower high. If we don't claim the pivot low here from Monday, this is a 3-wave structure, meaning that you could be developing here a double zigzag, another 3-wave structure, and you're forming that aggressive flat throughout the next 1 to 2 weeks, right? So, it really depends on what levels are hit. Of course, if you're just looking for internal scalps and day trades, right, you could be looking at the value area low here, sweep up the lows, have an attempt in breaking down, and you're just going to sweep up that liquidity, and the value area low of the price action here of the last week is sitting right over here with these lows. So it would be ideal to get a reaction here. If you do SFP, you got a nice little long scalp of several $100s. You got a lot of support here, so you want to really consider it as a scalp, but it's definitely one of those little aggressive scalping setups, right, that you would want to get in, right, on that liquidity grab. Double bottom, triple bottom right there, right? Just literally an SFP, and then, head up here to the first level of support resistance flip, right? It's just a nice little move of $600-700 on average, right? However, what we could be looking at also, if we do not swing failure pattern from the recent lows that we formed in the last few days, then there are some other scenarios, right? We've got also this one, right, which is a 3 waves, ABC. You could also form a 3-wave corrective structure or any kind of corrective move here on your wave X, and then form a zigzag move down to the low 90Ks or even below $90,000. So a double zigzag here is also a possibility that could be on the formation. You could be forming the ABC flat. You also have this kind of flat where you're going to form an aggressive zigzag move down here where you have a 3-wave structure. This being a corrective move, if you were to break down, then what you're looking at is a double zigzag move to form your A wave, right? Which is you're looking for a 3-wave structure. Then a massive rally to confuse everybody, right? Where you just sweep up the lows of the range and then you get back up to above $98,000. And then you get the massive drop later on here in the next 1 to 2 weeks, also forming the flat. So many different scenarios in this range, okay, that could be on the formation. However, they all look corrective. And the main reason why we're looking here for some kind of a corrective structure to very possibly get below $90,000, regardless if it's going to be the flat or the double zigzag, is because we haven't moved down impulsively, right? A regular ABC flat is possible if we were to form one more low, where you're having a 5-wave move to the downside, you form a zigzag, and then you form an aggressive impulsive move down in your ABC, right? That is only possible if you do create one more low on the recent price action, okay? If you do form one more low, then you can consider this as a 5-wave structure in a contracting or expanding move. It doesn't really matter. But overall, you could be looking for that aggressive zigzag down, okay? So many different options here. You have either aggressive zigzag move down in the next 1 to 2 weeks. You have ABC flat. You have the WXY also, and you have also a regular flat here that could be on the formation if the lows of Monday are in, meaning that your A wave is a zigzag, then you're looking for a zigzag move to the upside. Regardless of what we're looking at here, as you can see on the chart, is a corrective move, and the probabilities for the price action to really rally to the upside very aggressively and very successfully, right, to really head up to $100,000 plus and even all-time highs in the next 1 to 2 weeks is highly unlikely. Now, you would have to come to the conclusion that this 5th wave is not in here yet. And for this to be a double 1-2 setup where you have your 1-2 here, 1-2, and right now you're in your 3rd wave. So this would have to be your first 1-2 of your 3rd wave, right? Where you're just really just forming multiple 1-2s and the 3rd wave isn't really in. Now this would be extreme bull market, massive buying pressure that I think is unlikely. Now, especially right now, the probabilities for this multiple 1-2 scenario have incredibly decreased because you've hit the 0.88 Fibonacci retracement, which is rare for a wave 2 to get follow through here with a wave 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so probabilities are decreasing for the massive bullish case. Now, another bullish case would be that your 5th wave here is not finished, where you have your wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you're just forming your first wave 1 and 2, and then you need your 3, 4, 5 to finish and complete that 5th wave here to the upside. As mentioned just in the last minute, probabilities do decrease right now as you have hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, which is a rare scenario here, a rare level for your wave 2. Okay, so what we are looking at here with high probability for the next coming weeks, as mentioned as well, we are hitting that major resistance. We kind of mirroring the previous cycle. We are getting the reaction at the golden pocket. What makes more sense right now after a possible completion of a 5-wave structure is literally just ranging throughout the next coming weeks in May, regardless if it's going to be a flat. So yeah, we can reach the highs here without a doubt, but what we're looking at here would be looking at a flat right over here, a regular zigzag if the local lows are hit, you know, a double zigzag to the downside. So you can see here that we could be hitting the highs, but if we do so, I would be interested in a double top, just realizing that a flat movement to then get down below $90,000 would be the highest probability. Of course, I'll be analyzing very carefully how we get up to the highs of last Friday, which is just slightly below $98,000. Something that we'll be analyzing more in detail in the Legends trading community, or maybe on a live stream here on YouTube. Thanks for joining, and I will see you in the next one.